And now to a disturbing safety alert. An intense search is underway right now for the man who sexually assaulted and shot a little boy. Surveillance video showing that child collapsing moments after that attack. And the victim, only 12 years old.
And the person responsible for this despicable crime is still on the loose. Local 10's Trent Kelly is live at Jackson Memorial Hospital, where the boy is recovering at this hour. Trent?
Well, Alexis, we know the victim in all of this was last listed in critical condition here at Jackson Memorial Hospital. Despite surviving that vicious attack early Saturday, he still had to flag down a Good Samaritan in the area just to get some help. Now the search continues this afternoon for any sign of the man who attacked that boy.
A 12-year-old boy assaulted and shot before collapsing over the weekend, continuing to recover in the hospital. His life likely saved by a Good Samaritan.
He was conscious. He fell on the sidewalk, and he said he had been shot. That was all I know.
This man, who only goes by Johnny, says he found the young boy wandering alone and crying early Saturday, blocks away from the Foodland Market on Northwest 37th Avenue and 47th Street.
He was screaming, help, somebody help me, please, please, please. So I bring him to the store where they could call the police for him, you know.
According to investigators, the child was initially walking in the area when he was abducted by a man who forced him into a black four-door sedan. At some point, the victim says he was sexually assaulted right before the stranger pulled out a gun and shot him. The boy eventually forced out of the car and was later found stumbling around for help. This surveillance video from the food market shows witnesses coming to the boy's aid and offering him water. Within minutes, both police and paramedics arrive, with one officer helping the child onto a gurney before taking him to the hospital. The sickening crime leaving neighbors in shock.
Sick, so whoever did it, they just need to just turn themselves in, because that's not right. That's not right. He's a child.
So at this point, police have only released a very limited description of that attacker, describing him as a white Hispanic man who is tall, between 30 and 40 years old, with long curly hair. Of course, as we mentioned in the story there, he was last seen driving that four-door black sedan. If you have any information on who that person could be or who was involved in this attack over the weekend, contact Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers, 305-471-TIPS. We're live in Miami this afternoon. Trent Kelly, Local 10 News.
Right now at 5, a CBS 4 News safety alert. A 12-year-old boy is recovering after police say he was abducted, assaulted, and then shot. Police say this happened between 2 and 3:30 in the morning on Saturday when the boy was walking in Miami's Brownsville neighborhood.
Now, police say the child's attacker is still out there. The boy remains in the hospital, and we want to warn you, the video of the story is difficult to watch. CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live for us in Brownsville, where the terrifying scene unfolded. Ted?
Yeah, Elliot and Carly, we're learning new information today. First news that we learned is good news in this situation. His injuries are not life-threatening. That's what police told us earlier today. Now, it was right back here in this empty lot where police say that attack happened, and it was several hours after detectives say he snuck out of his house. It's difficult to watch as we see a bloody 12-year-old stumble. Police say he had just been kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and shot in the face when he made his way to this Brownsville convenience store.
I couldn't sleep at all that night.
Johnny is the one who found the child. He's the guy on the bike. He was leading the young boy to the store to get help.
He was screaming, help, somebody help me, please, please, please. So I bring him to the store where they could call the police for him, He was conscious. He fell on the sidewalk, and he said he had been shot.
You can see the child reaching out to steady himself on the garbage can, then falling to the ground. Police tell us he was not able to see after his attack. It happened just blocks away, between 2 and 3:30 in the morning on Saturday. Detectives say the 12-year-old snuck out of his house to visit friends when a man in a black four-door with a gun grabbed him at Northwest 43rd Terrace and 30th Avenue.
He says the driver got off, walked up to him, and that's when grabbed him and forced him inside of the vehicle. Once he was inside the vehicle, he tried to get out, but the child locks were activated and he couldn't open the doors.
Police say he was driven to this empty lot at Northwest 45th Street and 31st Avenue, where he was sexually assaulted and shot inside the car.
The young boy was trying to fight him off. During the struggle and the fight, he hears a loud noise. He didn't even say bang. He just said he heard a really loud pop. And when he heard that pop, that's when he noted the subject opens the door, pushes him out of the car.
At that point, police say he could not see, so he began to wander, guiding himself by touch, looking for help. That's when Johnny found him, and he got the help he needed.
That bullet would have gone a millimeter in either direction, and this boy would have lost his life right there on that scene.
And tonight, that attacker is still out there. Investigators need your help on this one. They don't have a lot to go on, except that he is a tall man with curly hair who was in a black four-door sedan. If you have any information that can help, give Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers a call. That number is 305-471-TIPS. Live in Brownsville, Ted Scout, CBS 4 News.
Developing right now at noon, a break in the case after a horrific crime. This man is now in custody in connection with the abduction, the sexual assault, and the shooting of a 12-year-old little boy.
The brutal attack happened over the weekend in northwest Miami-Dade, and the child remains hospitalized today. Miami-Dade police just held a news conference following the arrest.
And Local 10 News reporter Aliex Garcia is live outside the police headquarters in Doral with more. Annalise.
Christy Janice, the director of Miami-Dade Police, spoke along with a major for the Special Victims Unit. They discussed what it took to take down the suspect of this heinous crime.
43-year-old Aliex Santiesteban, accused of raping a 12-year-old boy, then shooting him in the face, leaving him with blood all over his body, begging for help.
This child has suffered physical and emotional trauma that will take years to overcome.
Investigators say the boy snuck out of his home to go to a friend's house late Friday night. Around 3 a.m. Saturday is when a stranger approached him in his car and forced the boy to get in. Police tell us he tried to get out, but the child locks were activated. The subject drove to the area of Northwest 45th Street and 31st Avenue. Police say Santiesteban parked and raped the boy in the back seat. The report says there was then a struggle between the two. That's when the suspect fired his gun.
The subject then dumped the victim out of the vehicle, essentially leaving him for dead.
In these images, you see the boy collapsing with blood on his legs just after he had been hit by a bullet as he waited for police. This Good Samaritan tells us moments before this, the boy was screaming for help.
He was just screaming help. Help. He was calling at everybody gate around the corner there.
Johnny is the man seen here on a bike. He helps the victim get to the corner store where others called 911. Major Brian Rafke calling Johnny a hero.
He took this young victim to a nearby convenience store. He was able to summon assistance, which ultimately saved his life.
Major Rafke says Santiesteban was identified and arrested thanks to a series of leads and evidence.
The DNA evidence, we were able to put the subject with the victim.
Cameras were rolling as Santiesteban was taken into custody at TGK late last night. He's now facing charges of sexual battery with a deadly weapon, attempted murder, and kidnapping.
And right now you're looking at video of officers getting to the suspect's apartment building today. This was about an hour ago. Also, crime scene techs arriving as well. Now, when Santiesteban was arrested, police tell us that they recovered a firearm and the vehicle in question, so where this rape allegedly happened. They also tell us that the suspect is denying these allegations. As for that little boy, he's still recovering in the hospital. I'm live in Miami-Dade. Aliex Garcia, Local 10 News.
We're also learning new details after a man was arrested in connection with the abduction, the rape, the shooting of that little 12-year-old boy.
The suspect telling police he was the victim of a crime. Local 10 News reporter Aliex Garcia is live this midday to explain. Annalise.
Christy Janice, the night that Santiesteban allegedly raped this 12-year-old boy, he came here to 10th Street in Miami Beach, just off Euclid. He called Miami Beach police and he told them that he was the victim of a crime himself. Now detectives are trying to figure out if this was his attempt to create an alibi, showing that he was nowhere near where the boy was found.
Miami-Dade police say they have the evidence to prove 43-year-old Aliex Santiesteban is the man who kidnapped, raped, and shot this 12-year-old child over the weekend.
We definitely have DNA evidence that is compelling.
Investigators say the child snuck out of his house to hang out with a friend Friday night, and sometime around 3 a.m. Saturday, Santiesteban forced the boy into his car with the child lock activated so the boy couldn't get out. The suspect then allegedly raped the preteen in the back seat and fired a bullet through his face.
The subject then dumped the victim out of the vehicle, essentially leaving him for dead.
As a father of a 12-year-old myself, this is extremely disturbing.
The boy seen collapsing outside a nearby convenience store where neighbors called 911. Now Miami Beach police tell us of some new details from the night the alleged rape happened. About an hour after the rape, Santiesteban showed up in Miami Beach where he called police to report he had been jumped by 3 men and stabbed in the hand.
This individual poses a great danger to the children in our community.
Santiesteban appeared in front of a judge Tuesday. He's now in jail without bond.
And Miami-Dade police are not ruling out the possibility of any other victims. So if you have any information at all, you're encouraged to please contact police. I'm reporting live in Miami Beach. Aliex Garcia, Local 10 News.